I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
A lot of people don't know this. I used to live in Canada in a township called Woodbridge, right outside of Toronto. I noticed the shift in the population. This was around 2015. I was there. And right now, I've seen it where good cops who stand up for Canadian people, the native Canadian people, the white ones, they lose 100% of the time to whatever group of migrants that is now has the largest and strongest population. In this interest, in this situation, it is the Indian population. But if you go to British Columbia, it is the Chinese population. If you're in Thunder Bay, it is the Somalian population. They are literally wiping the Canadian white population and replacing them with subservient migrants that are completely dependent on the government. And to receive your benefits and keep your free housing and all your free stuff, you're going to have to vote for one particular party. And that's how the parties are going to stay in power. Now, that was happening here in the US, but we were reversing it. The reason I'm playing this video is because the officer here, his motives are noble, but I am certain he will be disciplined and eventually he will be fired because these people, they will say that this is a part of their religion, and the officer is basically trying to criminalize things that they do, which are condoned under their religious beliefs. There's only one cop that's speaking. The other cop knew better than to say a word. They're all going to leave him out to dry when the smoke clears. I'll let you guys hear.
For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini here in Picton, Ontario, just south of Belleville. And as you can see behind me, we're at the local Tim Hortons, which has been more aptly named Sing Hortons in recent months because franchise owners have really been taking advantage of the temporary foreign worker program and specifically LMIAs, labor market impact assessments, which allow for the employer to receive federal government funding to hire temporary foreign workers. And they say they're doing so because they cannot find Canadians to fill that role.
You have a country full of labor. You have a country full of out of work people looking for work, and you are jumping past them to import workers from other countries so that you can pay them less and basically lower your expenses. But what does that do to the local economy? It's putting people out of work. So this isn't a Canada first. There's no Canadians first. That's why they need a movement. The problem is with the Canadians, in my opinion, is that they're docile, they're peaceful, they're very easygoing, and they're non-confrontational. That means these countries where the people are confrontational, who they're bringing over here, are just going to run over you. They're going to just plow through you. And you're not going to do anything about it. And every blue moon, somebody's willing to stick their neck out in Canada and their head gets chopped, unfortunately.
Now, it's happening here at this particular Tim Hortons and perhaps even others goes above and beyond that. And so I'm joined here with Matt Monroe, whose niece, 17-year-old girl, was offered a staggering deal to partake in some immigration fraud, and he's going to sound the alarm on all of this. So can you tell us a little bit about your niece's employment here at Tim Hortons and where it all went wrong?
So she's been working here. She wasn't working here very long, maybe a few months, and everything seemed to be going all right. And then she sent me a message with a bunch of screenshots that her manager, I guess I shouldn't say the name. Her manager had sent her a message over Snapchat asking her if she had a boyfriend, which she had replied no. She asked if she wanted an Indian boyfriend. And my niece's reply was, well, how old is he? And she said 25. And she said, well, I'm only 17. Like, no. And she replied with, well, if you want an Indian boyfriend, he can pay you $15,000 to $20,000 to get with him. Which she replied, like, no, this is illegal. Mm-hmm. So at that point, she was done talking to her manager. She went to her other manager then, and her other manager basically laughed her off, said this was no big deal, it's just a joke, and then proceeded to make a joke and make fun of her. And
Canada is not the United States. In the United States, there are basically 50 different countries under a federal umbrella. The age of consent being 18 is only the law in 8 states out of 50. The rest of the United States is 17 and 16. In Canada, I believe it is 16. So this isn't a statutory situation, but it's just it's more so a situation where it's inappropriate for work, because if you're trying to date me and I'm a subordinate and I turn down your advances and then you fire me, well, I don't know if you fired me for professional reasons or because you're bitter that I turned down your advances. That's why it's frowned upon and it's against company policy in these companies to do so. He should not have been offering money for immigration services that are illegal for the first place, but also to a subordinate, because if she says no, then there could be a punishment. That's why this is wrong. So this started off bad. But remember, these are foreigners who come to the countries. They don't know the laws. They don't respect the laws. They want to bring their laws here. So it's the issues they're bringing, the issues they were leaving in their countries, they want to bring them to their new country and impose them upon you, which is my main issue with immigration. That's one reason why I'm against it nowadays.
The situation, she went to another employee to confide in her. Her other employee tried to talk her into taking the money and doing the bribe. And to which she replied again, like, no, this is illegal. This is immigration fraud. And her reply, the other co-worker's reply was, I know 4 other people that have been married for 6 years who have never met each other. And she said, again, my niece replied, no, this is illegal. This is immigration fraud. And she said the co-worker's reply to that was, well, it's only illegal if someone calls the cops. And again, my niece was just having no part of it. So because she got no support from her other managers or other employees, she felt very uncomfortable there. So she ended up quitting and losing her job. And then the other manager just basically kept making a joke of it, says to other customers that come through the drive-through, hey, you want to marry my brother? I'll pay you $20,000, but don't forget to call fraud on me. So, like, it's not a joking situation. Like, my niece is underage. She's been through a lot in life. Like, she lost her father when she was just an infant. So she's had enough to deal with in her life. I'm not taking this lightly. I'm going to push to make sure everybody involved in this gets the repercussions for their actions. Like, this is unacceptable. It's unethical. And to target a minor who they knew were having financial issues and mental health issues is just, it's disgusting, really. It really is.
And not to mention completely illegal.
Yeah, it's very illegal.
And it seems like, Tim Hortons now, in addition to getting a double, you can be served up some immigration fraud. And it seems to be happening more and more and becoming something that we're hearing more of. And as you said, the coworker knows of at least 4 other people. Do you know if that came from this Tim Hortons or other fast food restaurants? Do you have any insight there?
I'm going to assume it's happened locally because, she's a local. So I'm going to assume, so I imagine it's going to be looked into as well. But since I've made the post, like, I've had multiple people come to me saying that they've had the same offer to them. And it doesn't seem to be happening just here either. Like, we've had people from Ottawa message us saying that the same thing has been happening to them. So, I mean, like, it's disturbing. And like, I just don't know what to say other than it's disturbing, and it's just disgusting what it's come to. Like, Tim Hortons used to be a pretty proudly Canadian run business. I mean, it's bringing shame to the legacy. Like, Tim Hortons, great hockey player, used to be a great franchise, and now it's just disgusting.
At what point did you notice that this Tim Hortons started to shift gears in that regard, where it was no longer that like old stock Canadian heritage based franchise?
It started when I started coming through. And mind you, like, I've been coming here for over 20 years. And there's been people that's worked here for as long as I can remember. And I just start seeing less of them and more new Canadians.
They're not new Canadians. They're migrants that are literally coming to replace you. The same thing that happened in the United States in 2021, a euthanasia campaign for the natives, and then they brought in new people that they did not force to follow the same mandates. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. So those are your replacements, and they're here to replace you. I do a lot of business, and I deal with people in Canada. Out of 30 people I deal with consistently, 15 have passed away in the past 2 years. We all know why. They know why. I do a lot of animal rescue. I help get dogs from the States, and I help find them homes in Canada. And it's a shame because these are some beautiful, wonderful people in Canada, all the way from Saskatchewan to, Edmonton, just wonderful people. And they were just so trusting and believing of Trudeau and their government that they complied when they should have said no. And that's unfortunate. So now you're going to have to deal with the new people that are here to replace you. The problem is the same thing they had the issue in the United States with Fauci, is that there is an overlap. There was supposed to be a huge die-off that hasn't yet occurred, but these people are here. And these people were technically supposed to move into your homes once you're not living anymore and it's vacant. But now you're still alive because there was a miscalculation with the amount of sunshine that you're supposed to take in before the first one takes effect, which activates the second one that you took. There was a miscalculation because they didn't study the data well enough, because it wasn't their research. It was Epstein's research. They stole it from Epstein. But it's just like when you copy someone else's formula or someone else's sauce or whatever you're doing, sometimes you don't know all the ingredients. You might think I can just copy what this person's doing and I can do the same thing as them. Sometimes what's missing is that person. They're the key. You might think you have everything to copy somebody, but you're missing certain key components. So because of that, people are living longer than expected, and there's an overlap with the new people coming in, and now you're going to have a conflict. So let me speed up this video to when the police get involved. And this is the sad part. The cop's doing his job. He's doing a great job, but he becomes more American than Canadian. My advice is, once they can him in Canada, is for him to pack up his family and bring his talents down south. We'd be happy to have him in Florida, Arizona, states that are no nonsense, states where someone with his values will be appreciated. But let me speed it up.
Instead of spending up to $50 on generic Viagra, you can get this
Into this Tim Hortons to see if I could maybe be offered $20,000 to marry the manager's brother. So have a look at how that went. I heard I could make $20,000 if I wanted to marry the manager's brother here. Can I start that process?
I don't have any comments on there.
You have no comments on it? So is it true or not?
I'm not sure.
Pardon me?
No comments on that.
No comments. So you're saying it's potentially true then by not saying it's not true.
I mean, I guess even the migrants know a narc when they see one. They're like, no comment. Nobody in the public speaks like that and just says no comment when a stranger walks up to them. So they can probably tell she's a reporter, or maybe she's not the first reporter. This is Rebel News, and they do a lot of actual really good journalistic work. So I don't know if there's anybody else coming in there, but maybe they were already coached on what to say when this come up because they knew eventually this would come up.
No comment. Are you the manager?
No,
No.
she's the lady. She's a girl.
That's the one that's offering $20,000 to marry her brother? You're not sure? No? Okay. Thanks anyway.
So this is the funny part. The manager on shift, which is a woman, and it was a woman. See, it's not a guy messaging the 17-year-old girl. It's actually the sister of the guy. So she's the manager here. She's trying to find a way to get her brother naturalized in Canada. So she's trying to find somebody that'll take the money. I don't know why they thought this girl would be a good fit, but maybe they weren't wrong because the girl did ask, well, how old is he? She didn't just immediately shut it down. So maybe they probably thought it would be some kind of opening. She was probably with the business or whatever. But this is the thing. They actually, the manager, after catching this reporter trying to catch up her staff, and because she's a woman, she's a little bit savvy. That's why he knew how to say no comment. The manager then calls the Canadian Mounties. They call the police. And the police are there to trespass and kick out the reporter. This is the cop right here in the front who is the one that I said we will take him here in the United States. He's the one that, in my opinion, is going to lose his job because of what just happened here.
The owner called, but he's not here. So he's claiming that that gentleman who was trespassed came into the store.
Not the gentleman, the lady.
What lady?
The one who's holding the.
Yeah. And what's wrong with that?
So he said that no one, like, she's trespassing in the private property.
How is she trespassing?
Like, he was like standing in the lobby.
She is an independent journalist. She was never trespassed from this property, and she has all her 100% rights to be here.
This is Canada. They don't have 100% rights to shit. They were forced to comply in 2020 and 2021. They have no rights in Canada. There's no right to bear arms. There's no right to free speech. You can be arrested. His values are being confused with American values. That's why I said he should be able to come here. The problem is now in Canada, there are more Mohammads than there are good cops. When push comes to shove, the system that imported the Mohammeds is going to choose the Mohammeds over the cops, over the rare good cops. There's not two cops talking, dividing up the lesson they're teaching to this guy. There's only one. This other cop right here is going to cower out, and he's going to flip on him. And he's going to basically say this guy was the problem, and they're going to put him through they're going to make this cop go through insensitivity training for dealing with foreigners, but this cop they're going to fire. I've seen some situations like this similar in the past in Canada and in some liberal American states. He's literally informing them that this woman cannot just be trespassed for being in the lobby for asking questions. She's a journalist. That's an American value. In Canada, they don't give two shits about journalism. They were actually freezing the bank accounts of journalists who were donating to truckers back in 2020. So they don't really give a damn about that. It doesn't matter. You care as an officer of the law. The system and the people in charge, they do not, unfortunately.
Just because your boss doesn't like the fact that an independent journalist is in here video recording, that's not up to him. She has the right to do that.
I can call him.
I'm not going to, no, I'm not going to talk to him. You tell him that she has all the right to be here. I'm not going to entertain that. You tell that to Mohammed. I'm sorry if I'm being crass with you, but you relay that to Mohammed that I'm not even entertaining that portion.
Even him apologizing right now, it won't help. He went full American, according to Canadian standards. Again, they're a very timid, very docile people. It's similar to the Canadian no worries situation. But for that short speech that he gave explaining the laws, which are not actually the laws in Canada, he is going to be fired for this.
This lady being here. Doesn't matter. They have all the rights in the world to do it.
Matt, have you spoken to any politicians? Has anyone reached out to you after your post went, semi-viral? And what's your plan next now that you've gone to media about this?
I believe there was a reach out to Chris Mellette, I believe is his name there, the local MP. I am planning on reaching out further. I really want something to be done here, and I need someone that's actually going to pay attention to this, and I'm thankful that you took this on.
What about the local?
Unfortunately, there are not enough white people that are going to stand behind you and fight back. The daughter or your niece will be fired. They will hire someone who is, her last name is Singh, or his last name is Singh. They will not be punished. They are the majority now coming into the country. They are the ones who are going to be voted in as politics, and no one wants to run afoul by the new majority rule. The cop is going to be fired. They're going to make an example out of him, and you will lose. This is pretty much, nothing will be done. Nobody will be held accountable. You're not in the United States. You're not in Texas. You're not in Florida. Those are the only two states you're really going to get some action or some kind of assistance nowadays. So this cop, if somebody can find out his name and send him this video, we'd love to have you in Texas or Florida. They're not going to hire you in another province. So take the show on the road. Come down here to the United States. We need more men like you. It's hard to find them nowadays. Like and subscribe, share the video. Canada is falling. The Western world is falling. The United States is the last bastion of hope that any of these English-speaking countries, formerly of the Commonwealth, were the last hope they have. Like and subscribe, share the video. I'll be back on in a few minutes with another subject. And see you shortly.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.